Well, this is our bonus episode.
Yeah, I'm busy sunbathing right now.
So, hot girl Summer over here. Hot girl
Hello.
Like, we've giggled more about this in the last 5 minutes than I will go home with a warm, fuzzy heart today as a result of this.
Listen,
So
I can't look at Jillian.
Well, I can't look at you either. So we'll just look there. We're going to talk about living out our superpower summer.
Yes.
Mary, there was this craze on TikTok, Instagram. It was called, Hot Girl Summer.
Yeah.
Don't fall for that.
Exactly.
stuff. That's drivel.
It is.
Really? It's not about the hot body and my skinny arms. It's about...
You got great arms. There you go. See those gams?
There's a few wrinkles in there. But summer is this time to chill, relax, not take the world so seriously, not take ourselves so seriously. It's about lakes and hikes and campfires and barbecues and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, enjoying the sun.
Let's take the pressure off because we've talked about some really tough stuff this year. Let's take the pressure off and talk about how we can live sort of a superpower summer. Don't look at me, okay? I'm trying to be serious. All right.
Okay,
So-
I can't look at Jillian.
We looked. Whoops! You're losing my flower. Whoops.
Okay, just leave it
digress.
out.
So,
I'm taking my sunglasses off
Okay.
too because
this is wrapped around my hair too, by the way. So we talked.
here we go.
Wow. We have
Ta-da.
looked at some researchers who have done some really important work about what really matters in life. Not the bikini, not the tan, not the waxing, etc.
Well, I think some waxing is good.
Some waxing is very good. All right.
Yes.
My mind just went wild there. Okay, let's get back to that topic at hand.
yeah.
So, how to have a hot superpower summer. Number one on our list is imperfection. It's not about perfection at all. We love our girl, Brene Brown. She would be very proud of us for talking about this. So this is the research that's come out of this woman named Marina Harris. She's a PhD, smart lady. She says connection is a basic summer need. And I think the summer is usually the time when we connect more with people.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
We-
We feel more relaxed.
Yeah.
There's more holidays. We're sitting, having a
We're
beer
chilling.
together. Yeah.
So to achieve that, people sometimes feel they need to put their best foot forward.
Right.
They need to lose 10 pounds before they get in that dress for the wedding or whatever. They never have to make mistakes or blunders. But this is what she says. People are actually more trustworthy when they show their blunders and show their foibles. And so they did this research project. It's called the Pratfall Effect. And it's by psychologist Elliot Aronson. And he said, people who showed these very high levels of skill in trivia challenges, but also committed blunders like spilling coffee on themselves,
Right.
were actually more affable to others and more well-liked.
Wow. Well, that doesn't surprise me. I feel that the same way too. Like if somebody's a little too polished, I kind of want to ruffle their hair.
That's right.
I wanna,
because we kind of relate to the foibles and we relate to the mistakes.
I
and all that
definitely,
kind
when
of stuff.
somebody is making mistakes for sure, I definitely feel more connected to them.
So into the summer, you know what?
Let go some of that
Go with your
stuff.
imperfections.
Yeah.
Embrace it. If the barbecue goes amiss, oh well. It always happens. So these are the things that endear us to each
And
other.
honestly, we're not looking at how you look in your swimsuit. We're just actually enjoying time with you. So let that go.
Exactly.
The swimsuit's just to be able to get you in the pool or the lake.
And to have fun.
And to have fun. And
That's
to get a
right.
good tan.
Yes. So that's number one. Number two is generativity. And I love this.
I
because
love this.
You are all about generativity.
I am.
So this research comes from Susan Crass Whitbourne. She's also a PhD. And she says, we often imagine that putting others before ourselves is a sign of weakness. But research suggests it's actually a stealth superpower.
Oh,
The most generative, and this is where the word generative means, the most generative people have better long-term well-being than others. So when we're generating things, acts of service, doing things for others, serving others, we actually have better long-term health and well-being.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, we get our eyes off of our problems.
Yep.
We feel when we're being generous and kind to others, it makes us feel good about ourselves as well. And it gives us a sense of purpose.
Yes.
So it's not that the summer has to be like, oh my gosh, I got to do some big project or ministry or whatever. Just those simple acts of kindness,
Yeah.
those moments of just noticing people, putting others before yourself. I think that is something that can bring a lot of joy. I love that.
And this is the cool thing. It doesn't have to be a big deal. So I'll give you an example. This is hot summer 2023. So our neighbors love to have campfires in their backyard. They have this campfire thingy, and they invite the neighbors over, and they do, instead of s'mores, they get strawberries, put a marshmallow around them, toast them.
Oh, what a great idea.
And so it doesn't have to be a big barbecue or a big
Right.
meal. It's just about getting together.
It's back to that connection thing, though.
Totally.
Yeah. You know, people are more relaxed, and so they can spend more time with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So imperfection, generativity, and when we're building in and putting some effort into the lives of others, it has a cascading feeling of personal fulfillment on
I
ourselves.
love that. I love that.
Routine. So we know that if you have children, routine is like a superpower in itself. It helps kids feel safe. It helps kids feel like there's predictability in their lives, safety, security. And there is actually a good thing, because sometimes we let our routine slip in the summer a little bit.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
And it's a good thing not to be too stringent, but a certain amount of routine is actually very good. So whatever the good habits you've been doing all winter long, all fall long, continue some of those into the summer, because they actually give you a sense of purpose. They actually give you a sense of fulfillment. And if you're a parent, they're really good for your kids.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to look exactly the same. So,
No.
for example, during the winter months, I'm doing more indoor Pilates, those types of exercises. In the summer, I'm doing dragon boating, so I'm
Yeah.
outdoors. But the routine of still getting active
That's right.
is going to continue. And it's important. I'm not going to just let everything go and just, sit around and eat bonbons the whole time.
Exactly.
Although that could be a routine.
Ooh, that's a routine. I like that routine. A campfire, bonbons, s'mores. My routine.
There you go. You got it.
But rituals that we do on a daily basis, especially when it's caring for ourselves,
I love
meditation, going for a walk, getting out in nature, those are all things that we want to continue to do over the summer.
Right.
And it does help us have a more robust mental health.
Right. So commitment, I love that. So routine, good for your family, but good for yourself. So a commitment to a self-care routine.
Yeah.
That maybe you can start the summer, and then what about continuing it through the rest of the year as well? Like this could be the season that you start that self-care routine.
Well, and you know what? Summer is a good time to start some of these routines.
I think so.
Right? Because you have maybe a little bit more space in your life.
Yeah.
And you can get
Maybe
out
a bit more energy.
Right.
Yeah. I love it.
So number 4 is persuasion.
Now
This
tell
is an
us
interesting
more.
one.
Yeah, that's kind of...
We assume that we actually don't have much influence over others, but we actually do. So an example, when we have to do fundraise, we hit up our friends, right? Like if I'm doing fundraising, I might hit you up to buy a calendar from me.
Yeah, always works.
Right, always works because
Yeah.
you're my friend.
Yeah.
But when we reach out to neighbors, when we reach out to people we don't know, and they actually really want to help with good things. So if you're doing a fundraiser this summer, maybe you're having a garage sale or whatever, invite your friends and neighbors to join you. They're more likely to say yes than you think they are, because we have this hidden bias.
Right.
When we ask a stranger for a favor or whatever, we need to borrow that tool or whatever, they're going to say no. And actually, we have more influence than we think.
Actually, we had a situation happen. Peter, while we were away, he had a chair delivered, and it was supposed to arrive after we got home, but unfortunately we got the notification it arrived, and they literally just left it sitting on our porch. So luckily he emailed our neighbor,
Yep.
and we could see on the camera, because we have cameras around everywhere, neighbors coming across, and he's rolling the chair in the garage. It was amazing. And again, if he had not, he was stressing, like, what am I going to do with this chair?
Right.
Ask a favor.
And you know what? People want to help.
Yeah.
They really do. I remember having a conversation with a friend. We were sitting up at Camp Minneowi, and she needed a device for her daughter. And it was an expensive device. It was an iPad. And I said to her, just ask. Let's just put the word out. Her daughter needed it for reading. And I said, just put the word out. She goes, oh, nobody would ever give us an iPad. And I said, you'd be surprised. Sure enough, what'd she get? An iPad.
An iPad.
People want to give, and they actually want a reason to give. So sometimes it's a simple ask.
So on the one hand, we can be kinder to others. We can practice acts of kindness.
Yep.
But on the other hand, we can also ask for kindness for ourselves.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Satisfaction. So this is from Lawrence Samuel.
You know what song's in my head right
I
now.
know. Me too. The ability to be happy with who you are, where you are, and what you have is a power that those who are never satisfied may want to emulate.
Happy with who you are, where you are, and what you have. Whew. That is like so countercultural.
Isn't it?
Because we're always trying to improve ourselves to be whatever, physically in every way.
Or keeping up with whatever's going on, trending.
Yes. And I got to be honest, this inner growth thing, sometimes like I am just trying to make myself perfect. Like I want to be like fully evolved, which is not possible.
No.
To actually be happy with who I am and where I am and what I have. That is powerful. I got to sit on that one for a little bit.
So this researcher says, think about somebody who doesn't meet the current successful ideal, but they're generally happy.
Oh, I can think of that for sure.
And it may not be that their lives are perfect, that they have their finances in order, that they have that perfect trip, but they're generally just happy and content with their life.
Oh, I can think of people. My mentor is a great example. So she's gone through difficult health challenges. She doesn't have a lot of money because she's spent her whole life serving. She is older.
Yeah.
So there's things that physically she's not as capable of doing. But she's probably one of the most content people I know because, well, I mean, there's more than that, but she's a life well lived.
Yeah.
And she doesn't ooze with all the insecurities that a lot of us have that make us feel like we're not enough and we need more, we need to do more, we need to accumulate more and all of those things.
So going back to that, the ability to be happy with who you are, where you are, and what you have is a power that those who are never satisfied may want to emulate. So that's part of the superpower.
Right. So maybe over the summer, just think about the things that you're thankful for what you have, things that you like about yourself.
Yeah.
That might be really hard, but just spend some time, like just think about the things that make you unique that you really like about yourself. If you were to be like, and don't worry about this whole pride thing, forget that. It's just like who you are.
When I see women on the beach or at the pool who do not fit the hot girl summer narrative.
Yeah.
And they're enjoying themselves. They're in the water with their kids. They're having the time of their lives. I love that.
It. I know.
Because they haven't bought into that narrative.
Right.
And they're the ones having fun. Right?
Yeah. I know. That's so great.
So the next one is nostalgia. Now, this is an interesting one because we can get caught up in the rose-colored glasses thing where we see everything is good, right? We forget maybe some of the stuff that wasn't so good. But this is from Matt Johnson. He says, letting our minds wander to the past can be guilt-inducing, but nostalgia shouldn't be. Fond nostalgic memories can boost our mood and make us feel whole.
Right.
So I think summer's a good time to do that. Like to remember like what you did when you were a kid during the summer.
Yes.
You know, I remember laying on the ground just watching the clouds and coming up with the shapes and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I remember laying in a hammock reading a book. Like there's a certain nostalgia that goes with summer that only tends to go around major holidays. But what are some of the nostalgic things that you remember as a child? Like
Oh, yeah.
Summers.
Oh, yes. We used to do the same thing, lying back and watching the clouds. And we would be like, no, that's an elephant. No, it's a horse. And we'd be having these conversations about it. But it's this sense that we had all the time in the world. There was no deadlines, no pressure.
Yeah.
We could just sit and enjoy. I love that. I love looking at old pictures. My father-in-law just turned 90. And in the process of preparing his video, I was looking at some old pictures. And all those nostalgic feelings were just kind of coming up. And I just felt so much warmth and joy and just remembrance of that. And so I love that idea of nostalgia, not so that we feel guilty or that we feel like, oh my gosh, today is so horrible compared to the past.
Right.
But it's just to feel that sense of well-being because of these fond memories that we have. I think it's great.
I just want to read this because I think it's so important. It says, engaging in nostalgia isn't just comforting. Consider that who we are in the past isn't who we are now.
Right.
We may think, feel, or act differently today. As T.S. Eliot described it, you are not the same people who left that station or who will arrive at that terminus. Your memory, I love this, your memory works to stitch you together as a consistent, coherent person. When this process breaks down, you can feel a sense of discontinuity, which is linked to a lower self-satisfaction in life. Research has found that people who frequently nostalgize have a greater sense of self-continuity,
Interesting.
a stronger sense of meaning in life.
Yeah.
Looking back helps us make sense of where we've been and how we got to where we are. It helps us tell a meaningful story of our life and of how all of our discrete experiences fit together into a coherent narrative.
Wow. That is really powerful, because sometimes we look back in our past and we only think about the painful points.
That's right.
But to look back in our past as a coherent narrative.
Yeah.
And even what it does, it can bring meaning to things. It can bring sort of shades of color to things that we might have only seen as bad, and we forget that. And of course, remembering the things that do bring us that nostalgic feeling reminds us of all the good things that sometimes we lose sight of that we have experienced over the years.
And I think it can also help us remind us of the things that we really value.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Right? Because when we see ourselves like on a camping trip with our family, even though it poured for 3 days, we have fond memories of the togetherness and the campfires and the being together and the slowing down, as you say.
Right.
And that can elicit those feelings of, those are deeply held values that
Those
I
are
have.
very important. And so it's important to make time for that.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that was another one. And of course, hope.
Yeah.
This is from David Feldman. The power to access the belief that things can get better, no matter the challenges, can quite literally change the world.
Yeah. Well, when people lose hope, that's when they struggle with depression, suicidal thoughts, things like that, because there's no sense of purpose or meaning or reason to live. So being able to hold on to hope is so important. And even if you can't feel hope, to at least believe that hope is possible. And that might be even the distance. I mean, I don't know where people are at as they're entering this summer. It could be a tough summer for them.
And it's a heavy summer with all that's going on in the world.
It really could be. But to hold on to hope, or to be with people who can hold on to hope for you if you are going through a tough time, I think is really, really important.
And I just want to read this quote because I think this is really valid. Few people would use the word hopeful to describe the state of our world today. But we also know that hope can exist even in the midst of pain. Essayist and activist Rebecca Solnit wrote, "Your opponents would love you to believe that it's hopeless, that you have no power, that there's no reason to act, that you can't win. Hope is a gift you don't have to surrender, a power you don't have to throw away."
I love that. Hope is a gift. Hope is a power. Like, just think about that. How is hope a gift in your life? And how is it a power? There's such agency in that.
There is.
It's a choice to hope. It's a choice to know that even if I'm going through the most horrible time right now, around the corner is something that I can hope for.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it is part of that resilience building that we all talk about all the time. Right.
And it's not this sort of like, like you said, rose-colored glasses, Pollyanna hope. It's like hope based on real change, real shifts, real growth, things that you can look forward to, joy that you can find in that.
And it says it's tempting to lose hope today with all that's going on, but that would be surrendering a vital power that we have.
Yeah.
And I think even for as a grandparent, when it can feel quite hopeless in the world right now, raising children. I've heard that many times repeated in many interviews, that it feels like a hopeless place with everything that's going on. But as grandparents and parents, if we can provide hope for children and our grandchildren and the next generation, it is such a gift. And it's a gift that we've been given. If we look back generations, the Great Depression, I mean, different things have happened throughout life where our parents and grandparents held hope for us.
Yes.
And we can do the same for the next generations.
Yeah. And as we've talked about in previous episodes, it doesn't take big actions.
No, it doesn't.
It's just the little things that you do on a regular basis that can shift the trajectory of your life. And as your life shifts, it can shift your family's life.
Absolutely.
It can shift your community's life. It does make a difference. So hope is so powerful, not just for you, but for your family and for those around you.
Yeah. We got two more quick ones.
Okay.
Daydreaming.
Oh, so tell me more.
This is from Dr. Brendan Kelly. Oh,
yes.
Oh, I think he's a wee Irishman. I do.
Okay.
He is a professor in Dublin.
Okay.
But far from a form of procrastination, an indulgence in fantasy, or a sign of an idle mind, daydreaming has been shown to deliver real-world benefits.
Oh, I resonate with that. The number of times I've come up with ideas just because I'm daydreaming, I should have been working on this thing, and then also my mind's wandering, and then it's like, boom,
Well, this
an idea hits me.
This is why science always tells you, if you want to solve a problem, get up from your desk and go for a walk or a run or change the scenery.
Yeah.
Because it puts you in a different frame of mind.
I gotcha.
Right?
Oh,
so that
I love daydreaming.
That cloud gazing that we were doing when we were little, it is beneficial for us. Right?
Yeah.
And summer is a time to daydream. You're sitting on the dock. You're looking at the lake. Like, seriously, it's the best time.
Yeah.
And it creates all this creativity. It's a good problem-solving skill. You get great ideas when you're doing, daydreaming. It gives you hope because it takes you away from the things that preoccupy you. So there's so many mental health benefits.
I love this because summer isn't just a time of rest. It is a time of preparing for the next season, the September. For a lot of people, we still been in school forever or we have kids. So the cycle of life seems to begin in September, and there's preparation that has to happen with that.
Yeah.
But it is a good time to kind of daydream and think about how you might want things different this coming September. What routines you want to put in place, what things that you want to hope for. And so daydreaming can help move us towards that. So it's not
in such a positive light.
In such a positive way. So that even as you're kind of in sort of a, stasis mode where you're just resting, you're still very actively engaged in the future of what it is that you're hoping for and daydreaming about. I love that. That's amazing.
So it says it had been previously thought, and I think this is where kids get scolded for daydreaming.
Ah, yes.
Right? It's been previously been thought that the only part of the brain active during daydreams was associated with low-level, routine mental activity. However, the research shows that the brain's executive network concerned with complex, high-level problem-solving is also activated when we daydream.
Yeah.
So far from idle, then, our minds are actually hyperactive when they drift away.
Well, what's interesting is, I've talked about this before. People with ADHD they often feel less than because of just being neurodiverse in a neurotypical world.
Yeah.
But they actually have this superpower of daydreaming where their mind wanders off. And it may seem like they're non-essential details, maybe to what your teacher's saying or what your boss is asking you to do.
Right.
But it's actually the place of great creativity because you notice things that other people miss. You notice patterns, you think about things. And it is, many people with ADHD are also extremely bright. So when you pair together ADHD with analytical skills and you are daydreaming, think about the inventions. Like one of our close friends, Julie.
Yes.
She just can't stop with her daydreaming, and she's so action-oriented. She actually gets things done.
Well, we were on a trip together.
I know.
And I said to her as we boarded the plane, by the time we get off the plane, you'll have 3 new business ideas, and you'll have launched 2 of them. And it was pretty much true.
It was pretty much true.
She's staring out the plane window. She was...
I know. So funny.
And the last one is restlessness.
Restlessness. Now, tell me about that.
See, some of these things, they seem like...
a negative almost.
A negative, but they're superpowers.
Okay.
So the research from Jutta Jorman and Adam Zhang. Okay. When boredom sets in, staying in one place can be bad for our mental health. Those with an urge to get out and enjoy new and different experiences may have a distinct advantage. So I think sometimes when you're feeling restless, as this is saying, you need an experiential diversity, as they call it.
Right.
So when you're feeling restless, maybe life hasn't measured up to what you want it to be, and maybe you're getting itchy feet and you don't know what that's all about. Go do something that's different than what you normally do. So for instance, I have a beautiful yellow Labrador retriever. His nose is his guide in life. And I've been reading a lot about the science of dogs' noses and how they see their world through their noses. And I thought to myself, my poor dog, he's suffering from the same world over and over and over again.
Right.
So now I choose different areas to walk him. I choose new experiences where he can go and sniff because it's mental stimulation for him. And what about us?
Right.
Like if we're always walking the same path, if we're always going to the same movie theater or restaurant, change things up.
Right. And so maybe a different way of reframing it, because restlessness might have a sort of a negative connotation for people, is I often will encourage people I'm coaching to experiment.
Yes.
So have an attitude of experimenting. So try different things that you've never tried before. Because you don't know things about yourself or what could be around the corner that you might actually love if you don't try it. And along with the experimenting, it's also giving yourself permission to kind of go, nah, I don't like that. Or to lean in and learn more about it. Or to change your mind. I mean, that's the whole thing, is the variety of trying different things. Gives you more insight about yourself, and it can give you more insight about maybe where you want your life to go.
And I think when you experience new things, there's an alertness that comes with that and a curiosity that comes with that. That is not there sort of in the routine day-to-day stuff. So when you're providing... So I have a fear of heights. So I have this fear of heights that developed when I was pregnant with my son. And I'm at Camp Inioe. I think you were there at the same time. We were volunteering. And they have a zip line there, and I really wanted to try the zip line. But I got caught up with stuff, and I was the last one to the zip line.
I remember that,
And I was afraid all day. I wanted to do it, but I was afraid all day of the zip line. But someone came and got me and said, Jillian, like, they're going to close down the zip line. It's getting dark, so you got to go. I ran to my cabin. I changed. I ran to the zip line. I scurried up this ladder, and literally they pushed me off. I had no time to think about it.
And you were like, ooh, the entire way across. It was awesome.
But you know what? I loved every second of it.
Yes, I know. That's the thing. Same thing. I used to be so timid with those kinds of things. And once you start and try it, you realize how much fun you've been missing.
So try new things. Like experiential diversity should be your friend this whole summer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like go visit a different lake. Go to a new restaurant. Go walk in a different hiking path. Like do kinds of things that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for this, Jillian. I mean, you've given us lots of food for thought. There's no pressure, by the way.
No.
This is not like homework assignments. It's just things for you to think about as you enjoy your summer, things that you can try out, and some of it is internal, daydreaming, thinking about that. Some of it is external, going out and experimenting. But regardless, use the summer season, not just to rest, but to also prepare. Because watch out for next season. We're going deep, and we are excited for you to come alongside us, because we're not going to just talk the talk. We're going to do the work too. Oh, she doesn't know that yet. She's doing the work too.
I'm going to need a few months off just to do that and daydream.
She's preparing. We're all going to do there. So thanks for joining in for this season. Enjoy your summer, and we will see you soon.
Have a wonderful summer.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Fully Lived Life podcast. We hope you found it encouraging and helpful. Be sure to follow or subscribe so that you never miss a new episode. And if you enjoyed our show, please help spread the word by sharing with your friends and family and posting on your social media. Thanks for listening, and tune in to our next episode.